Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'll be discussing some brief thoughts on episode 13 of the anime series, Dansai Bunri no Crime Edge, or The Severing Crime Edge. And it pretty much all boils down to this. This is the final episode of the series, or perhaps season 1. I mean, we may get a season 2. I really don't know at this point. But of course, it was ended interestingly and openly enough that we could get a season 2 if they decide to make one. But I found it interesting. We're pretty much picking up right where we left off, with Kiri being wholly possessed by the beastly spirit of Greyland, the original wielder of his killing good, the Severing Crime Edge. And what's interesting is once EY shows up on the scene, of course she knew something was going down, she had to be there. She basically rescues little Emily Redhands, who only moments ago would have wanted her dead because of that whole mythology about killing the Hair Queen, of course, which is EY, and regaining whatever sort of wish you have. You know, basically Emily wanted her father back, and it turns out they share that father. In Emily's case, it was her adopted father, but I like that, you know, you see the bridging of that gap, that adversarial gap, mostly one-sided on Emily's factor, but you know, you see them getting along and sort of accepting each other and understanding each other better, and they end up kind of sort of a family by the end of this. And I thought that was a really nice touch because, of course, you see them later back at EY's house, and both she and Emily are looking over their father's log books and everything, and just understanding how he felt about them both and how they should feel about each other. Of course, it was followed up with a sort of pervy sequence, which kind of perturbed me because you couldn't see what the hell was going on because they were blurring out every other thing. And I was just like, put some clothes on, girls, you know? Nobody wants to see this exactly when they're just sitting in the bathtub and, you know, talking about the relationship with EY and Kiri and stuff like that. But that brings me to the next interesting thing with this finale. That is what broke Kiri out of the sort of possession of Greyland. When he encounters EY in that sort of forest area that they're in, amidst the flames and everything, you know, once he inadvertently slices her hair, that's what snaps him back out of it, back to reality, if you will. And of course, he wakes up in the hospital where he's basically an attempt at seduction he's undergoing by the Violet Witch, and then she ends up lip planting on him and everything. And she's basically departing with the aspect that, you know, little Emily wasn't the only tailor-made or order-made, you know, author out there. There are two more roving around. And so you basically end with this sense that, you know, once Kiri and EY are back together and her hair started growing again abnormally and he's got to be cutting it again, we're kind of back to square one in the essence, like just after they met. You know, this is what their lives are going to be like because there hasn't been a Hair Queen yet in the many generations this has been going on that has survived this whole process. And this seems to be, you know, the hope is that Kiri and EY, their bond, their relationship is what's going to save them both. So it kind of ends on a higher note. You know, as I say, being open with those two other order-made killing good people out there, there's still room enough for another season and stuff like that. And I thought it was just, while it wasn't wholly, you know, a wholly amount of closure, it just had enough that I was like, all right, cool. Well, I'm rocking this, you know. So basically, that's pretty much all I have to say about this episode. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of this episode if you've seen it, what you thought of the series overall, if you thought it ended adequately enough, which I pretty much did, and otherwise, I'll catch y'all later. Peace.